Hey everybody, it's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore coming at you.
And we're so glad
Together.
that you're here. I know. But we're so glad that you're here. And today we are going to be going over Act 2, Scene 27 of the Restoration play.
227.
And so we just pray that you guys are blessed by what the Lord has to share as we kind of just talk about the week that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
And but before we begin, we also want to give a huge thank you to everyone who continues to give and has supported us. It's truly amazing to just see how God has continued to carry us through every single year. It's really amazing to see that. And so
it's truly amazing.
Huge thank you to all of you. And we are support based, so if you would like to give to us, you can. We have a PayPal link below and the Cash App as well.
Yeah.
That you can just click on those and give there.
Can we give God some glory for a second?
Yeah.
Because, listen, I'm amazed that, like, it just amazes me. It's like, really is like glory to God. You know, we just so appreciate the giving. But it's like, man, however the Lord does it, as far as his timing and his sequence of things that he just says, okay, release this. It's like I could just imagine him in his big office and his big desk, and he's like, ooh, the LaVores are gonna need this week. Here, send that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we never have this, like, it's rare that we have like this massive support that we can just, you know, it's like, because if it was the Lord's will for us to get a great big chunk of money so that we can go get an apartment or rent a home or something like that, we would have that.
Mm-hmm.
But we never have that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there are times when, like, you know, there's doctor stuff or dental stuff or stuff that's outside of the normal budget, and we're going, what are we going to do? And then it just comes. Mm-hmm. At that moment, at that time. There was a time where we had some major needs at the beginning of this year. Mm-hmm. And we got like this great, amazing offering. It was so perfect. It was so amazing. Like the timing of it was like, wow. And we haven't got anything like that since. Mm-hmm. And we're coming on to the end of the year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, wow, look at the timing of the Lord. And that blessing came as a result of someone else being blessed, you know? And I mean, they got a major blessing and then they gave to us. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And it helped us do some things that at the time were a need, you know? Of course, there's some desires that always get fulfilled. God doesn't just give you beans and rice and on your needs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He just gives you, he gives you the desires of your heart, even in situations like this. And it's just so super awesome to see that like, no matter what's going on, no matter what the need is, God's like, oh, you know, it's like, oh, the temperature's getting really low. Here's some coats. Mm-hmm. It's like, wow, Lord, can we get more of those coats? No, tomorrow's going to be 70 degrees. You don't need a coat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like God always is, he's a good father. My eyelashes are messing with me. He's a good father, and that he gives you what you need and what you want, but not like this. In a situation like we're in right now, because that's where God has us, it's not time for this massive abundance yet. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so it's just really cool. So I just had to, you know, just give a little testimony of God really supporting us and carrying us this whole time. You know, of course, now, what? Oh, wait. Today is the 18th. Mm-hmm. And so we've been here in this room for 1 year today.
Yeah.
365. Boo, 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 boo. You know, and I'm just like, wow, look at the Lord. Mm-hmm. Look at what he has done. You know, a lot of times we want the Lord to plant the seed and it to grow up overnight like it did for Jonah. You know what I mean? That's what we want. And the Lord's like, trust me. This is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. And if you just trust me, then you can trust him with the timing as well. Mm-hmm. You can trust him with the process of the time. Mm-hmm. You know, you can trust him with prophetic words and like how they play out and how they pan out. You can just trust him. And it's like, wow, Lord, look at what you've done. Mm-hmm. You know, so
yeah.
Insert divinic intro. Bam. That was more of a testimony.
No, that was good.
So.
But yeah, so we're going to just dive into Act 2, Scene 27. Mm-hmm. And it was just, we've had it's been a good week. We talked about last week how the Lord was having us really just let go of so many things, and there was just a lot of just exposure moments and heart things that the Lord was bringing up. It was very much just a week, I feel, of just like exposure, letting go. Yeah. Let's work through, kind of going through the mud kind of thing. And then we came into this week, and I really feel like this week was a shifting into kind of more of that clarity of what God has spoken over our lives, just kind of a panoramic view, or God's like, I'm kind of pulling back, and I want you to just see more clearly how I'm moving, and maybe like the why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Like the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's been interesting, but it started off actually on Sunday night, where Devin got this vision during God time, and it continued kind of our the visions that God's been giving us. I think when we last left off, it was us walking with the Lord, but just kind of walking with Jesus, and at the same time, though, he's very focused on in the picture. It was like he was focused on two of our kids, and we were all just like walking with him. But it was that kind of stop. All right, everybody, hold up, stop. We need to talk. We need to, address some issues, and that was kind of that whole week for us. And so coming into this week, it was a different vision. You want to go ahead and share that?
Yeah, and so because in the visions that we've had, like in the last couple months, it's like we were in a boat. We all went out on our boats, and we came back, and we had this dock we were on, and we were hanging out at the dock, and then we walked up the stairs, and then this has been a series of visions that we've been walking out. Like, these are like right now happening things. These aren't prophetic things that will happen. Sometimes those are hard to discern, and sometimes you just don't know whether you're living it or not until after you look back and go, oh, this is happening now. Oh, wait a minute, that prophetic word already happened. Oh man, I missed it. No, you didn't miss it. You lived through it. I was like, oh, but I kind of missed it. I didn't know I was living in it in the moment, and I just would have rather enjoyed it for the second, But and so there's this dock, and then we walked up this dock, and there's there's like a beach type scene, It's kind of weird, how this looks in my head, because in real life it doesn't look like that. You don't have this dock and this water and this, and then you have beach, and then you have boardwalk. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't normally look like that. And so we're walking through the sand going toward this city, and it was during that time that we had to stop. Hey, let's talk, because also that kind of related to another vision of us being in an amusement park and crossing through the gate of the amusement park, and just like, okay, let's stop for a second. But then, on Sunday night, because this was after the kids went to bed, right? I just got this sense of like, because we have been ministering by the Spirit to our two oldest, who are called to be pillars of the children in our family. So the Lord's doing different work in them than he's doing with the other two. He's doing pillar building work. So there's a lot of testing when it comes to pillars. And so it's like he was walking with us, and the four of us were on the right side of the Lord, and our two oldest kids, they were on the left side. And he's like, no, you need to come and walk on this side, but they just haven't been doing that. They've been struggling. They've been hurt. They've been disappointed. They've been working through some stuff, And so the Lord was just like, in the vision, we're walking on the beach, and going toward this sidewalk city that's like kind of like the outskirts of the city, and he's focused on them, but in the vision he just turns his focus away from them, and he's focused straight ahead. And I knew right then, I was just like, oh wow, like he's taking his focus off of like really hyper focusing on character issues and all that. God's always about character and heart, but his focus changed, and he's like, I'm focused on the city now. I'm focused on where we're getting ready to go, what's getting ready to happen up ahead. So that about covers it.
Yeah, and so, but you also had just that idea of the scripture where it said his face was set on Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Meaning like Jesus's heart was set on going to Jerusalem and
sending text messages.
And
And so text messages. And so as a result of that, the Lord really spent this week, giving us the panoramic view and all that stuff, but he really was kind of weaning off, focusing on issues and just trying to, appeal. And that really was happening. He's really turning his focus on the city. So let's jump to the end of our week, shall we?
Yeah.
Because this is super cool. Because when the Lord turned his face away, I knew we were close, but we were still about like, I don't know, yards. Let's talk yards. Maybe like 60 yards, 50 yards away
like half
from
a football field.
Yeah, there you go. Away from the sidewalk. And so, but we got to this place where we were at the edge of the sidewalk. Well, how did it start? It started during a worship time. Right?
Yeah, it was actually on Saturday. So, we had the first vision where we're basically like 50 yards or whatever, 60 yards away from the curb
and
sidewalk area.
Sunday.
That was on Sunday. So here we are at the end of the week, and it was during worship, and that's when you had this vision of us.
It's interesting because the night before, I felt like the Lord was like, I'm going to do something different tomorrow. I'm going to do something new tomorrow. I was like, but Lord, you can't do that. This is only Friday. You can't start something new on Saturday. Those things start on Sunday. Remember? I need to remind you of the schedule. I got to keep you right. It's like,
yeah, it was during, well, we were having, it was actually really cool that night because we ended up doing some worship songs that we don't normally do. And it was just amazing because you suggested one worship song and then I went ahead and put two others on. And they ended up being worship songs that you were thinking about that I didn't even know. And so, but it was just during that time that we were singing all of these songs that you had.
And it was about the
vision.
city, because that's where we were headed. And the Lord turned his face toward that. And now here we're at the end of the week, and I got this vision of us standing on the sidewalk singing these songs into the city. And it was like Let It Echo in this city, the Chris Tomlin Greater Things Are Yet to Come, and there's the Matt Brock Greater Things, and it was just pronouncing greater things and speaking blessing over the city, and a great light's gonna shine, and all these different things. And it's just like, I was like, whoa. And so I got this vision of us just standing. We're literally off the beach now, and we're on the sidewalk. I mean, literally, you take one step back, maybe two steps back, and you're back on the beach, right?
Yeah.
But we're on the sidewalk, and we're just singing. I mean, and the presence of the Lord was just so evident, right? And it was just like, whoa, this is amazing. And it's like the Lord's like, yes, we're gonna sing over the city. We're gonna bless the city. What does the city represent? Well, it could represent a variety of different things. For us, it represents the United States of America, but it also represents our current region that the Lord's called us to live in. But it also represents that place of promise. The promised land. So you see what I'm saying? It can, but the bottom line is, it's the next place we're going. It's out of the wilderness into the city, and it's like, we're gonna bless this time out of the wilderness time into the manifestation time, out of hiddenness into manifestation, out of the priestly time into the kingly time. It could represent a lot of different things. But it's like, because in the wilderness, there ain't much going on. In the city, there's all kinds of stuff going on, and both of them have their challenges, right? Just because you got a lot going on doesn't mean you're being effective for the Lord, or your relationship with the Lord is growing in intimacy. That doesn't mean anything. It just means you're doing more stuff. Whoopee. That could be actually deadly,
And vice versa. You could be not doing much, but then doesn't necessarily mean that
means you're dying. You know what I mean? It could be like you could be doing nothing and growing like crazy, which is kind of what the wilderness is designed to do. And so, is that what you meant?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not edit that part and let's hear what you really wanted to say.
No, what I wanted to say was just like, you could be...
You're like, nope, that's wrong.
No, I was just saying, like, you could be in either place. Ultimately, what matters is, are you doing what the Lord's asked you to do? Because you could be someone who is busy, who has a lot going on in their life, but you're doing exactly what the Lord has for you. And it could be a place that, you know, I agree with what you're saying. That, you know, a lot of times... in general, you think busyness is better,
right.
But then
or
you can
doing
have,
nothing is terrible.
Yeah, but you could also be in a position where maybe you don't have a lot going on in the Lord, but you're not necessarily growing in that place because maybe you're not working with the Lord as you're in that place.
Right.
So that's what I was.
That actually brings a little focus and clarity, because it really comes down to, like, are you doing what the Lord wants you to do? It doesn't matter whether you're busy or whether you're just chilling. If you're in the place that the Lord wants you to be in, then that's the best place to be. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I was just using one example, and so
both
expansion.
sides of the coin.
That's right, and the whole coin itself. You know. Anyway,
it's the bigger picture.
It is that panorama. And so, as we're standing on this sidewalk and we're singing, I saw. I don't know if it was me in the vision. I don't think me in the vision saw this, but me, this guy right here talking to you right now, he saw that there was a line of people. It was crazy. There was a line of people on the sidewalk that way, and they were all doing the same thing. They were all singing and praising and declaring over the city. And I was blown away. You know, because I was like, wow, that's a lot of people. And the line was literally, it was perfect. It was like, you know how you do those little cookie cutter thingies and you pull it out like that and there's like a bunch of little gingerbread men on it. That's what it looked like. And I was like, whoa. And I felt like the Lord was saying in that, he was like, I have a lot of people doing exactly that right now in this time of their life. That's where they're at. And I'm just like, whoa, that is super cool. It's like you're sending your spirit to saturate and marinate the future in prayer and praise, so that it can be easier to go into. You know, it's like, that's amazing. I mean, just the level of crazy sci-fi amazement that is. It's like you're literally soaking the future. You're soaking the land. You know, you're soaking it in what's getting ready to happen. You know?
Yeah.
I thought
it's
that was
almost
super
like,
cool.
Well, it's really what the Spirit of God did in the beginning. It said the Spirit was brooding and hovering over the waters. And it's like God has his people brooding and hovering over the city, over, you know, the United States, over their regions and areas, over their families, over these places where it's like, hey, let my spirit brood, be praying, be declaring, be singing over these places, because it's preparing them for the word of God to come and for it to manifest and take place. And I know for me, that same night during worship, I was having I had a different vision, but basically carried the same heart, and I was just seeing all of these. In my vision, it really seemed like it was maybe the whole United States, but it was just the idea that there were just people all over the place, families, groups of people, individuals, and they were all in praise and worship to the Lord. And I was just seeing these. I forgot about that. At first, it kind of reminded me of like bubbles, almost like, I guess the best way would be to describe it, kind of like champagne bubbles, because they were like really little, but they were like orange. And you know, and later on I was like, you know what I think it was I really felt like it was the it's like the embers from a fire, and I really felt like it was the incense from the offering, and that it was just going up to the Lord. And And it really was like just all these people all over the place that by the Spirit, I just knew it was by the Spirit, they were making prayers and declarations, and that God was just receiving it.
2 visions to say the same thing.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Can I share like something real quick? It's like when you're at a bonfire or something, and they turn those logs, all those little orange little sparklies come off of it.
That was exactly
it does look
what
like like champagne of fire.
Yeah, because I was seeing it in the dark.
Bubbles.
Like it was dark, and so I could just see it kind of going up, and it was just like, wow,
that is super cool.
This is what the
and what happens? Why does that happen? The only reason that happens is because someone's getting in there and they're turning things and stirring up the fire. You know, and so it's like, hello, that's imagery all over the place.
Yeah.
The Lord's getting in there and he's stirring up our hearts and getting us to declare and praise, and it's just like incense.
Well, and it really has been for me personally this whole last week has been, God has just been stirring up and reigniting just the fire of just like prayer for the United States and just carrying his heart, you know, that he has for the U.S. And, you know, it's been something that's been a part of our journey this whole time. And we know that's where we're really called to is the United States and this region. But it was just like, hey, let's turn the log and stoke fires and just, you know, make declarations and praying. And so it was just really awesome, you know, and I feel like that really is the Lord kind of backing things out, like, hey, let's look even more of how what I'm doing in this nation and this is where I have you, but there's a greater picture going on here of what he's doing in the nation. And so it was just a really awesome thing that God showed us.
Well, because and all of this is also stemming from the word that God gave to Lana Vassar about, like, last week was going to be the significant week, and then there was going to be letting go, and then there was going to be clarity and panorama. And we were expecting the panorama last week, but it was like a letting go. And if it's because, you know, the letting go part was only like 10% of that word. And I was like, that was 100% of our week. You know, it's like, what's going on? Where's the panorama? And so then that came this week, and it was almost like the Lord's like, we got to go through the let go part first, then we can do the. And it literally has been this whole week. So it's literally. So last week was significant in the sense that it started this process. Yeah. And this week, man, I tell you what, we've had a panoramic vision of, like, you know, like I think we watched that. There was a thing about that Kent Christmas put out. Was that on Wednesday? Where he was talking about this has nothing to do with, you know, the favor. When he's talking about the favor of the Lord, it's not about just getting the desires fulfilled and walking into the promised land. He's like, it's not that's not what I'm talking about tonight when I say this favor. I'm talking about the favor of God on your life to fulfill the destiny and calling he has for your life. You know, and he's like, that goes beyond just one moment or one particular aspect of your life. It has to do with your entire calling. And I'm like, dang, that's panorama right there. I mean, like, literally everything was panorama this week. Yeah. And this scene of the restoration play. Yes. And so there's a lot of stuff like that. Our identity, who we are. I mean, the things that he spoke over the 2 kids, our 2 oldest kids this week, during this scene of the restoration play, has been like panoramic stuff and reminding them of who they are and what they're called to do and why they're called to do it, and, you know, that they're called to be, what was it, God was like, you're called to be God's best friend. Was that this best? Yeah. I mean, it was just like so much calling and just like panorama on identity, panorama on what you're called to do, and panorama on, like, why have I placed you here? Why are you guys here? Why are you doing what you're doing? And I'm just like, wow, because a lot of times, you know how it is, you're living off of this. Oh, I think I see something. I think I see the Lord. What's he saying there? I don't know. Let me read it. And when God's like, here, let me pull you back, and you go, whoa, you know what I mean? You you can't. I mean, you just can't see that when you're living your life like this. Like, wait. Oh, I see some needs. Oh my gosh, where's the money going to come from? I'm looking. I don't see it. Oh, hello. No, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? But it's like when God takes you back, you're not really concerned about those little needs right there. You're going like, wow, this is amazing. And there's so much that you can see, and you're not really concerned about the little stuff, even though the little stuff is important. But you can see that God has got the little stuff taken care of. I mean, he's got the big stuff taken care of. How much more the little stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was really just an awesome week. Like you said, there were individual aspects of God just bringing encouragement and reminder of, who we are, but then also just as a whole family.
Yeah.
It was just one God time we just really spent, and God was just like, hey, let me just tell you, this is who I've made you to be. This is, how I want you to live, and just it's been a really awesome week in that regards. And also I just think that it was interesting because throughout this whole week, quite a few times, really from the beginning of this journey, 2017, God has used certain songs to just be a part of.
We've got a soundtrack to this whole journey.
Certain seasons and times, there's just these songs that God's just like, hey, this is what's on my heart right now. This is what I'm declaring.
Just another prophetic signpost to keep your heart and your mind focused on what he's saying.
Yeah. And so this week in particular, we basically had 2 songs that were really just highlighted throughout the whole week.
2 songs? Okay.
Yeah,
well, there's Back to Life. What's the other one? Wait. There's another one?
Yeah.
I should know this, right?
Yes.
Obviously. Back to Life and Ring in a Robe?
No.
Oh! New
I think you
Day.
even posted it on your Facebook.
I did. New Day by Danny Goki. Yes.
Yeah. And
All
so
right.
it's just been funny because, we've had these 2 songs.
If you're half right, does that mean you're completely wrong?
I think so. No, but at the beginning of this week, Devin found this song, New Day. And it's really been just like what God's declared. And he's
funny.
like, you're in a new day. This is just, we're in a different time. And it was just so funny because that song itself was filmed at the beach, like on a boardwalk.
It was. It was crazy. I was feeling, because I get on to lead worship and I'm just like, none of these songs are hitting me right now. What, Lord? Oh, okay. I'm in this place where none of these songs are hitting on our list. We got like 479 of them at this point. And I'm just like, what? And I just kept getting this sense of new day. And I'm like, well, whatever. I'm just going to type it into YouTube, see what I come up with. And I saw this New Day, Danny Goki. I was like, oh, let's check that one out. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, let's play that. And right away I was like, oh, that's it. We're going to listen to this. It's not so much a worship song to the Lord, but it's like, here, this is the song I'm singing over you. This is what I'm saying over you. And we've been listening to it all week. And it's funny because it's on the beach.
Yeah.
And it literally takes place at a beach area. And this kid comes out and he dances on a sidewalk.
Yeah.
It's next to a beach. I'm like, oh my gosh. Even where they filmed it is like prophetic for where we're at.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, so that's been throughout the whole week.
Yeah.
And but then also Back to Life has been a huge song during this week, and just really kind of has been
Back to Life by
Bethel.
Her name is Zariah something. ZZ. ZZ Bethel. No, I don't know.
But it's just the idea of just like that Lord, he's the one that brings us back to life, and it's
no longer I who live, but Christ in me. Man, I tell you what, that was the one theme that the Lord was just hammering in our kids, and our 2 oldest. It was just like, it cannot be you living. It can't be I living. It's got to be me living in you. It's the only way this is going to work. And they're afraid to give up some stuff, and the Lord's like, well, I'm just going to be gentle and patient, but I'm also going to be here. If you're going to be there, then you're probably not going to like things. You know,
Yeah.
You're not going to like the tension. You're not going to, and I'm going to let that work on you. I'm going to let it do its thing, because I'm not going to step outside of myself. You've got to step into me. And I've already stepped in. So it's like you've got to engage. You've got to come on, you know? And so
yeah, so I think that's really all that we have for you guys this week. It's kind of the big bullet points from the week. But basically just
finishing up our walk on the beach.
Yeah.
We landed on the sidewalk, and we just start praying and prophesying into the city.
Yep. And
into the promises.
That's where we are right now. So it's just continuing to just remain in with our hearts open to the Lord with what He wants to speak and say and do. And so. But
also, what's going to be happening, I want to just share this real quick. I am going to be making videos because, God's just doing different things, and He's doing new things all the time. And God's definitely doing new things and different things with Michelle. And He's doing new and different things with me. And I don't know, Michelle can be part of the videos if she wants to be, but she has the option to not be a part of it, because, that's just what the option is. But there's going to be videos that I'm going to be putting out throughout the week in between these story time videos that I think, man, God's just been stirring this in me for a while. And I just really want to jump into a great big pile of by answering questions like hearing from God, prophetic words from God, timing on prophetic words, the timing of God in general, and just all of these things, these great big huge issues that we struggle with, like walking with God. Because there's a difference between hearing from God and then walking out what you're hearing, and then carrying what you're hearing as you're walking it out, and watching everything be opposite of what you're carrying. You know what I'm saying? And I just really feel like there's things that I feel like the Lord, He's like, Devin, come into my office. Let's discuss. And whatever we discuss, I feel like He's going to give me things to share. Say, hey, let's talk about this. Let's unpack this. Like I said in my 2 previous videos, or particularly my Let's Discuss Prophecy and video that I released recently, it was just like, I felt like that was just kind of like a little rock in the pond of like what's coming, So I am going to be doing more of those. So if you guys have questions that you want answered, put them in the comments, and let me know, and we'll see. I'll see what happens as a result.
Yeah.
Michelle might be a part of the videos sometimes, maybe not, but it's definitely going to be something I'm going to be doing throughout the week, in between these videos, the restoration play videos.
Yeah. And so I am good. I'm okay.
Yeah,
it's just sometimes it would just be easier for when the Lord just gives a word to Devin, for him to just be able to go ahead and
well, I mean, you've got other things going on, and you're going to be maybe journaling or something, other stuff, and because you can't journal if we're doing videos, so stuff gets put, like stuff starts to back up, you know, and so
we're just kind of going with it as well. It's something that we've been just kind of praying through and about for basically
you might see Michelle doing some videos by herself as well. That's been a discussion as well, because she's got some stuff. I feel like, honestly, I feel like I have a U-Haul storage facility, just stuff packed up of just these questions that need to be answered. People need to be. We as believers need to know the truth, because we're following the truth. We're disciples of the truth. And we need to know the truth of what it means to walk with the Lord and hear from the Lord, and how do you overcome certain situations, and how do you deal with things. And there's so much that needs to be addressed. And again, it's like you need the Holy Spirit to know, like, okay, God, hello, what are we doing here? It's not something I can go, oh, I got this, let me just unpack a bunch of stuff. I can't do that. No one can. And so I think it's gonna be a fun kind of new, interesting journey. So on the same old channel.
But so be looking forward to some of those videos.
Yep.
And but that's really what we have to share with.
I'm excited to see your video by yourself.
It'll probably be like 5 minutes long.
Someone out there was like, "Thank you, Jesus." A short video. No, I was kidding.
But I can talk. Trust me, I can talk.
Oh, for real. When Devin's there, not there dominating, you can definitely. No, I'm just kidding.
It'll be nighttime videos with me, and that's where at night it's like.
Ooh, glory to God! Y'all better Lord of the Rings. Girl gets to about midnight, like, babe, why don't you do a video on that stuff you're talking about right now? Because I'm done. I'm on E right here. I'm on E or F, one of the two. You know, either way, it's like I'm good. I'm good. Why don't you share that with the public? Maybe if you need to get something off your chest. Because. And then the funny thing is, I'm like that first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And you're like, no.
Yeah.
I don't even drink coffee, but not without my coffee. No.
Yes.
No. Just stop.
So true.
It's like, Michelle, oh my gosh. Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. No. Stop. You know? And it comes nighttime, and you're like, you know what, though? And I'm like, no, Michelle, stop.
Yeah, I can't do it.
And I'm like, are we ever going to... We're like two ships passing in the night constantly. Or I'm passing in the day, you're passing at night.
Yeah.
Either way, we're going to be passed out here in a second. Anyway.
Anyway, let's wrap this up. So we just pray that you guys are blessed and that just
so funny.
You're encouraged by what the Lord has to share, and we will see you guys again
Next video.
on our next video.
Yep.
So,
love you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.